What's up, DanceFam? Welcome to another episode of The Session. We are back from break or hiatus because we have nothing else to talk about anymore.
Really?
That's true. As you can see, we have two very special guests with us, but before we get to them, as always, I am your host, Russ Santos, a.k.a. Lock and Robin. And with me, as always, is Eser Valencia.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Cool. And like I said, we have two very special guests with us, Mr. Trung Luu and Fabi. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Trung, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Well, currently, at least in terms of dance, current affiliations is the Day One Project and Boyz.
That's right.
If we're talking about just general life, I'm just been working and I'm trying to do a career switch into hopefully cloud engineering.
Oh, all right.
Dang, you're
Yeah.
personal.
Wow.
Real adult over here.
Hoping to do that soon. But yeah, that's
Man, making that
currently-
money.
That's what
Make that
happened.
money.
Yeah, trying to.
Who else have you danced with in the past?
Dance with in the past, Capital Funk, Bamboom, Future Shock DC.
What?
There's probably some I might be missing, but those are like the big names that pop out to me right
Sure.
now. So sorry for the ones
No,
that
you're
I
good.
forgot.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
And Mr. Fabi, what's up, man?
What's up? How's it going?
Not too bad. Where you been?
So just been busy with like the Day One project, you know. Been dancing with Boyz, some Capital Funk in the past. Was part of Mozaic back in the day. And,
Dang.
I know, right?
All
Shout out
right.
Mozaic dance team. Also Culture Shock, Future Shock DC, like going way back. An Overflow dance crew. What's up?
All right, then. All right.
It's a throwback. Yeah, but that's about it. And I'm teaching at Certified Studios down in Springfield, and part of the PUSA Foundation, nonprofit organization my friend started.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So
just
you are
doing-
around.
I'm
Yeah.
around.
Very
trying.
active young
So-
men right here.
Right, exactly. So on that note, it's nice that you guys are on, that we're having you guys on, because you guys kind of represent the current age of dance nowadays. Since for me and
Yeah.
Esther, we feel
The
a little
end
bit
tables.
stepped out, especially because we're a bit older than you guys.
For real?
Yeah, we're pretty old.
I couldn't tell.
Oh,
Trust
You guys
me.
look great.
I'll
Yeah.
take off my glasses. You can tell. But it's nice to get a little bit more insight, especially from a couple guys who are actually still very active in the dance community. As much as we are or try to be, there's still things that we don't have inside knowledge on, I guess, just because we are
Mhm.
less into it right now, or less active at least. But so thank you guys for coming on. Probably
Mhm.
thanks.
Yeah.
No problem.
For those listening on the podcast and I guess people watching on YouTube, today we are going to be reviewing Jabbawockeez at the NBA Finals 2019.
Yes,
This isn't the first time they performed at the NBA Finals.
I know,
They've done
right?
it at least twice, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Golden State Warriors have been in the finals almost every finals for the past
Right.
4
I
years.
think
something like
5
that.
years.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, we'll be reviewing 2019 NBA Finals when Jabbawockeez performed. So this was Game 4 in Oakland, directed by Phil Tayag, and also featuring the Turf Fiends, local legends of the Bay Area who are turfers. Turfer, is that a word?
Oh.
They turf.
I guess
Maybe
for the
turfing.
sake of conversation, we'll leave it at that just to simplify
Their
it.
style is turfing for sure, though. But let's talk about this performance by the Jabbawockeez. I don't want to start, but let's talk about their entrance. Esther, what did you think?
First with the turfers? And
No,
then-
just the whole
or
entrance.
just the
Whatever.
whole the
Talk
whole
about
thing.
whatever. Yeah,
Okay. It seemed like a very typical halftime kind of opening beginning. They got the hype people in front of the main performers, and then
Cheerleaders.
they even had cheerleaders.
Yeah.
So it was like a whole sequence of just set of people, and then the main performers. It was like, all right, this is not bad. It's like, I guess this is just the way they need to format it, because I, for one, have had performed at halftime shows during my major deaf years, and that's pretty much how it goes. You just have people, other sets of performers in front of you, and then you just go out, hype up the crowd the way you are, and you're the featured group, so you gotta put on a great show. So I think it was appropriate how things just went. It didn't seem like it was bad or not good, you know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Perry, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool that they brought the surfers in, you know, because they were super dope, you know, bringing in like a whole different like style that you usually don't see around like YouTube and stuff, you know, kind of like showing like the background of like what the Bay Area is about. I thought it was really dope. As far as like the video goes, I think I wanted to see what it looked like watching it from the crowd. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Because like I felt like the video was like very. They did that performance very much for like
the
YouTube.
camera.
Yeah. So like it was like super dope watching it from like that angle. But it was interesting to see if they were like really performing for like the crowd or like they're performing for like YouTube. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trung, what'd you think?
Yeah, so we're just talking about or dissecting the intro right now, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's, you can keep going further if you want. But.
Okay. I mean, yeah, at least for the intro, I would say, like Eser said, it was appropriate for what they were doing. Because at the end of the day, the crowd's not really there to see them.
Yeah.
They're all there to see the Warriors play and the Raptors play. So you don't really have the entire attention of the audience. So the way they introduce the turfers and doing like the typical Bay Area, I think it's called the smeeze. I don't want to be wrong, but that's like the bounce that they do.
Yeah.
So that was just paying homage to the area itself. So that was like a good way to draw people's attention. And then from there, they like switched it up and then went into what they do best. So yeah, I mean, like intro wise, I thought it was just appropriate, captures audience attention. They played it off to the crowd. So I think it was good. At least for what they did. True.
So paying like the homage to, I guess, the Bay Area, I want to say that they're mostly from the Bay Area, Jabbawockeez at least. At least what I've been told by my cousin is that they were half like Mind Triggers from the Bay and half like Culture Shock SD.
Some Sacramento too, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they kind of just got together and started Jabbawockeez. So like that's why they often perform at the finals, especially when it's Golden State Warriors. And I think in one of the past performances they did, they featured like E40, who's also a Bay Area legend.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
who's just there, and I think they did they danced to his music too. When it came to the whole intro, I did like how the turfers, it showcased each one of them. It wasn't just like kind of a crowd or a group thing, like because it is a very street style dance. You know, it's going to be a solo thing or kind of a freestyle thing. So it's nice to see that their individuality within those things, showing their tricks and whatnot. So that was dope. Kind of short lived, but obviously for a reason, because it's a Jabbawockeez show. Yeah. So with their intro, their first song was "Oh Go" by The Pack. Not familiar with the song until I watched this video, but maybe it's because I don't listen to the radio anymore.
It's a pretty old song. Very old.
Yeah, actually, it's a little.
Thank you for dating me.
Yeah. Yeah, it won't be on the radio right now. I just wanted to say that.
Fair enough.
It's not your fault.
No, I have actually heard that song previously too. So it's just like, oh, they got a little something more, you know, back in the day, but not too back in the day.
Sure. But where I was going is that with the song, well, with the full first part, with the first song that they did and the first set, or I want to, first call it the first set or the first piece for their set.
Yeah.
It definitely has the Jabbawockeez feel, but at the same time, I don't know, it felt like they added a little bit more rawness to it, more than they usually do, because they tend to be a little bit more isolationist and very picturesque.
Yeah.
But with this, they had a lot more groove, a lot more like rawness in general. I don't know what a better term is there, while still maintaining that whole Jabbawockeez feel. One thing I do like about them is that they're really good about directing attention. Especially with this first song, because they did showcase a lot of them individually, but they managed to do it while directing your attention towards one way or another, whether they're dancing as a group and then showing off the next guy who's over there. Which kind of goes back to your point, Perry, about how this set was really good for the camera. Because we're looking at it from the eyes of the cinematographer, who is, by the way, Christian FGY. Like being an audience, being in that 360 arena, just watching these 5-6 guys kind of doing their thing, not knowing exactly what's going on because they're not facing you. Maybe you're kind of seeing it from the back. It might look weird. I can get that. And I know I'm jumping here, but at the end of this first song, they did kind of like kind of a snake formation where they're one right behind the other and they kind of do like a ripple thing. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool from the camera.
Yeah.
But then thinking about everyone else, like, well, they're in a line and they're doing something differently. And I'm not seeing what they want me to see. I guess.
I mean, maybe they got it up on like the Jumbotron too or something like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Did not think about that, actually. What did you guys think about the first part in that sense? The first song performance, if you guys remember it. Anyone can jump in.
Well, just seeing how they were just being themselves. You know, I was expecting the same, you know, Jabbawockeez, because they're relatively like older seasoned kind of a crew. So growing up as well, you know, like you have that expectation about them. So like seeing them doing a little more groovy rocking kind of set is just like, oh, they're stepping a little more out of their bounds, which is nice. And they're also just, you know, reaching out to that new crowd. So it's always been a genius concept with this group, that the masks, you know, like I think they're one of the originals, just promoting that kind of you know, costuming, because you just don't know who's behind there. So that's just the whole brilliance of it, that you can always trickle in new dancers learning that same style and not know who it is. It could be just even a veteran from the older days, you know, kind like even like like Rainin or you know, Phil and all those other previous like dancers from those days. But looking at their first part of the set, you know, it did have the feel, and it was just like very reminiscent, and at the same time, like, you know, I was hoping to I don't know, for some reason I felt like I wanted to see more, you know, b-boying, you know, like they had those solos also, like
there was just
just a little bit, just showcasing one of their dancers freestyling, and it was nice. But you know, like sometimes like you had the whole group doing a full b-boy set, you know.
And that's the thing about the Jabbawockeez, you never know who's performing out of that group, because they can just interchange with different masks, same mask, but different people, and maybe all the b-boys were gone, weren't available,
perhaps, you know,
or in Vegas or something.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about that first part? For that first song, Trung, you want to go?
I can go. Oh yeah, I mean that first. It was very. I could probably tell who choreographed it. It was probably Phil Tayag, because he's very into like meshing the Jabbawockeez classic style into like somewhat new, whatever you want to call new style is. So that's probably why they had that mixture with that first song, is because it was mainly under his direction, I'm assuming. And that's what it usually does, at least like based on what I've seen from them, is like Phil always brings like the E40 type songs, or just like the swaggier pieces that come out there. So I mean, I really liked how they just highlighted everyone with the solos, and like Russ said, they were able to draw attention towards one person, and then this next person came out and you looked right to them, and they killed it with like their freestyles and their own individual steez to everything. So I mean, I think that was like an expected thing to see, and like refreshing if you don't see that all the time. Just because there's oftentimes you'll watch dance performances, you don't exactly see freestyles like that or solos as much. It's just like all rehearsed, all choreographed. But the big thing I liked about Jabbawockeez is always the solos that they bring out, because they can freestyle. So.
They can
can freestyle very well. Used to be huge fans. I would always watch them back in the day on YouTube, and just seeing like all of them individually freestyle, even without the mask. They would like pick their styles, and I'm like, wow, I really like, in particular, Kevin Brewer. I don't know if he was part of that performance. I want to assume he was. For the light thing, we can talk about later, but I mean, overall, I enjoyed that first section as well.
Cool, Barry.
Yeah, that first section was like super dope, because you get that nostalgic like throwback Jabbawockeez, you know, very like pop heavy, a lot of waves, you know what I mean? You get a little bit of the grooves, and I like how they added that like modern twist to let them know that like we're still out here, you know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
We're still out here in Vegas.
Still out here.
Still out here.
Come see our show.
Yeah, exactly. And they're still like killing it, you know what I mean? They're still like top world class dancers, and they really show that. Their freestyling is like off the charts, and I like how they were able to like draw your attention with their freestyle. I think even without like the without the camera like guiding us. I feel like if I was like watching that straight up, my eyes would be exactly where they were. Yeah. And like they really know how to highlight each other, you know, because they're not just like stopping when they're dancing, you know what I mean? They're like they're still like adding those little accents to optimize that freestyle and make it look a lot better. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's like really cool. And then like they use the mask obviously to like dance as one unit, so you never really know who's like, really dancing, and that's like super cool. They always do.
It's kind of like that card trick where you don't know which one the card is because they kind of interchange.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the second part. So this part, I was kind of taken surprised by. The song was "Rocket" by Herbie Hancock, and very old school, like 80s, maybe even 70s. No, I think about the 80s, 90s. So old. It was when I used to get into breakdancing, and when I knew it as breakdancing in my garage in my parents' house, like this was the song or one of the songs. It's like, and this is the song I know, even though the other one's old too, or whatever. This was more Jabbawockeez for me than the rest of the whole set, any other part of the set. They went deep into like popping, isolations, animations, waving, and then even got some Bay Area strutting in there too. The strutting part I liked. There was one part towards the end where it was the scratching part of the song, and it kind of went down the line. They were passing one of them down the line while imitating the same movements or doing the same movements and kind of like emphasizing it. Kind of like, I don't know what to compare it to, but it's kind of like a what do you call that line? An assembly line kind of type of thing.
Yeah.
So that was dope. Perry, what'd you think about it? Of that second part, that second song?
Yeah, that was super dope. Were you talking about the part where they get into the light, like right before?
No, right before that.
It was right before that.
That was super dope because they were like bringing the camera right down the line.
Yeah.
And everything. Yeah, that was super cool. Like, really, like, I think the camera work like really highlighted the dance a lot. And that's why we were able to like notice these little things, you know.
Yeah.
Because sitting out back, you probably wouldn't notice like every single person going down the line. But like,
to be honest, I probably wouldn't even be watching them if I wasn't.
If you're sitting like. But yeah, I think it was super cool, you know, and very popping-esque, which was really dope. And like you said, it's very like old school Jabbawockeez because like. Again, they're just letting everyone know. Like, I think like the whole point of the video is that like they're letting everyone know that like we're still here doing big things.
That's true.
Yeah. Being in like the NBA finals like 2-3 times already, and like they're just the point of the video is to let everyone know that they're still around and like killing it.
Still relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah.
Trung, what'd you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That whole breakdown part would probably be one of the highlights that I remembered the most. And at least with like. I don't know. It's me being someone who followed Jabba for a long time. That was actually, it's like that isn't anything new, but it was still nice to see because they have done that before. I think in a previous Vegas show or something. I didn't watch Vegas shows, but I don't know. I would find some clips on YouTube or something like that somewhere, and I just remember that song through that. But it was like very early on, like maybe even before they started the Vegas show, where they had that routine. But it's dope routine. I'm glad they brought that. Or that specific piece back. But yeah, if we were to pinpoint the highlights of their performance, I can't even remember like a true highlight from the first song. But that
true.
Other than like the solos and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
right.
For the second one, that was a huge thing where I was like, wait, let me replay that again.
It's true.
Oh, that was cool. But yeah, that's a very memorable moment, at least on that part.
Cool. Eser, what'd you think?
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are still living up to their legendary brand. You know, they got to keep promoting it. So, just having that section placed in that set, you know, just brings out that, you know, this is who they are, their identity, and this is their unique style. They never had to be flashy and full of tricks, you know, in that sort of light. But also not. But it's like a nice well balance of like showmanship as well as just like theatrics and dancing. You know, they still maintain that internal groove and also like they know when to place their movements in a very smart areas of their set. So it was a well thought out, you know, like placement of things. You know, just a sequence of events, just really just making it happen. even though it was just like very intimate on the basketball court, and if you're like sitting in the nosebleed sections and you can't see anything, or if you go out in the hallway and watch one of the screens, yeah, sure, it'll make it work for those audience members who really want to see what's happening on the floor.
Sure.
Yeah. So I thought it was just really the thought of it was just very done well.
Going off what you said about how they were watching, how people may have been watching from like in the hallways on a monitor or whatever. I'm kind of curious to know if the footage that we were watching is the same footage that they were seeing in the arena. Like, I want to see exactly.
No, that is a very curious thing. It's a very curious
one, because you see another camera crew kind of going around. I want to say that was them. And two, this is like for them. This is their brand of a cinematographer. Yeah. So it kind of sucks that if you're not watching it on this video, and you weren't like center court, like in the front, you're not going to see everything that you wanted to see, like they want you to see at least, except that light show, which we can get into now.
Yeah.
This is the part of the performance that I had a problem with, actually. First of all, I will say that the whole light manipulation thing, it was dope. Don't get me wrong. That was cool from all of about 5 seconds for me.
Yeah.
After that, it kind of felt like it was dragging on for a bit. Like, I get it. I know what you're doing, and it's cool. Now move on, kind of thing. Again, for people who haven't watched it, you're watching us for no reason. You're listening to us for no reason. Go watch the video first. The last part, the third part of their set, and like the last part before leaving, was kind of a light show. Where one of them, who do you think it is?
If Kevin Brewer was there, I would say it was Kevin Brewer.
I feel that.
So if Kevin was on that light, that little center block,
it was
stage,
a small stage.
Yeah,
he was playing with light, like there were beams of light coming out of it, and he was kind of manipulating it, kind of like, I don't know, it was a mixture of technology and dance, which is really cool. I'm always all for innovating somehow when it comes to dance or art in general. So dope use of technology there, but again, it's that part of the show kind of felt dragged out to me. I'm not sure if it was because of the energy or if because it was just a lot of the same thing happening without that much of a change within his performance or manipulation of light performance. But yeah, it just felt a little bit slow for me. Eser, what do you think?
Yeah, because at a certain point after they introduced like where the camera just automatically tracks to the left side of the court or with the camera, and you see like, oh, they're playing with the lights, and I honestly thought there was like a pole there for a quick second.
Did you say a polar bear?
I said
no,
pole. Pole. There was a polar bear. If you guys missed that,
like, I don't know what you were watching, man.
It's one of those videos where you
I know.
You see him running across.
It's holographic.
But did you see it?
Holographic. Or hologram.
Did you see the polar bear walking in the back?
Oh man. Okay. Folks out there watching and listening, there was no polar bear. I don't know.
Go look for it.
Anyways, I thought there was a pole there.
True.
Just changing different colors. Then I finally realized, oh, it's a nice straight beam of light and just being spread out on that little stage. But no, I do agree with Russ, because at a point I was like, okay, where is this going? Because a lot of the time the cameraman was just focused on the one Jabbawockeez on that miniature stage, where I'm trying to see like what everyone else on the basketball court was doing, because obviously
I'm pretty sure nothing.
It may have been nothing, but at the same time, they have the milky movements, or they're just still pointing up like this to the sky. But at the same time, it could have been better. I honestly thought they could have done more, instead of like having the camera guy just going.
If it was more than one of them doing,
right? I think
maybe.
They could have had at least two people on there. But I started losing interest, and I was just like, okay, what's the next thing? Yeah.
Trung.
Yeah, personally, I didn't find that it was boring or dragged on, just because I think for me, I was analyzing how it was being done, and at the same time appreciating like the freestyle itself. But the fact that it was all calculated and it seemed like it, I'm just thinking about the technology behind it, on how it looks so together, and they were both working, or whoever that was freestyling was working together with the lights. There's a bunch of thoughts flowing through my head, so I had to play that part
couple times.
Yeah.
a few times
no,
just to think about, because there's like this one part where he actually grabs a light beam and
then
he throws it.
Yeah.
So
actually
in
pretty
my
good.
head, I'm like, okay, it can't just be one source going this way, because how else would the light go off of the platform?
I think he had
So-
something in his hands.
It's either like
Good point.
maybe something in his hands, or if they rig something up above where there's two light
that's true, too.
sources, where like it just offset the light in that one instance on that count or whatever. I don't know.
Or just magic.
Or it's just magic, or the Jabbawockeez, but
They're just nice.
yeah. I mean, yeah, dude, they got that special ability. We just don't know how to do it.
You need to get on that level.
Yeah, we don't have that skill yet. But no,
a
I
fair
think
point.
it was like them bringing out maybe at this point 3 different aspects of them. They have their initial one to just draw the attention of the crowd, just more modern, urban, and then they go back to their classic Jabbawockeez, and then this third time around is like them bringing Vegas.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I believe it's
Good point.
like, yeah, this is
yeah,
Vegas.
I didn't think about
Yeah.
that actually.
Yeah.
I forgot that.
So it's like, yo, this is probably what more you'll see at the show that can bring together more audiences that
where they have the budget.
Yeah.
this is the budget
Yeah.
setup that they had, but
Yeah.
I think it's just like a tease on what they are capable of doing, especially for their show, since not everyone that goes to these shows are expected to be like full out dancers that know what dancing is, or at least
Yeah,
they,
that's true.
they can analyze it in that caliber, but at least it's like those aspects that can entertain an audience, and they brought that in there, and I thought it was really dope, and I'm still curious to see how
How they
it was actually done.
Yeah.
Magician never reveals his secrets.
Oh,
Sure.
sure.
You're right. They can't tell.
Real magicians out there.
Barry, what'd you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, I like the whole like technology and dance type of thing, because like I feel like with technology nowadays, and like there's so many creative ways that you can like highlight the dancing. One thing I did notice, I don't know if you guys noticed too, but I think
I know what you're gonna say.
yeah, I think that was like another take from like a practice run.
Oh no,
Yep.
I did
Yeah.
catch that.
Yep.
Yeah, they like use the camera, they like cover the camera, and then
Transition,
they brought it out.
yeah.
Yeah, they transitioned
Mhm.
out, and it was like practice footage. So I'm like really curious to see
I
what
think
it,
they
like,
messed up their
I
library.
know.
Yeah.
You know?
I really wanted to
Gotta
see
find that
what-
live footage now.
Yeah, I know, right? So like I'm really curious to see what it was like doing it live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't even do it. You know.
Oh.
No, they did, because the transition going back
Yeah,
into
yeah,
live
brought him
version,
back- brought
he
him right
stomped
back.
on the light.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, during that part, I was like, wait, there's a lot more orange in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
that's what I
was
caught
like, it got
also.
really
Yeah.
quiet around.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, is this still the game or what?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they messed up for some reason, or something
something-
something went wrong.
Or maybe they planned it or something. I have no
True.
idea.
Right.
Mess
Yeah,
up
we
the
don't know.
perfect. I'm just
Like it was definitely a nice effect. Like, oh, we noticed that there's nobody there, and then like that final, I guess, stomp that he did,
Yeah.
and then ooh, magic, everybody's there. It's like cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the part of the magic. Like, made the audience disappear, and brought them back. Yeah. Again, I think maybe it was the song choice. Maybe I just didn't like the song choice. If it was something more, I guess, upbeat,
Yeah.
I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yeah. Or maybe if they had more people, like how you were saying,
Sure.
it would have been a little less gimmicky. You
Yeah.
know?
But again, doesn't
Yeah.
take away from how impressive it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was. I mean, it's damn impressive. I don't know how you can.
yeah. I mean, I don't got the money for that type of technology.
I mean, look how grainy this footage is, everyone. We can't even afford a real podcast.
Song choice though. Do you know what song that one was, or is that
It was
like,
Paramedic by
is it the Bangers?
no
No.
SOBX RBE.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
I was just assuming that sounds like one of the songs that at least like the Bangers is kind of
Oh,
their
yeah, yeah.
music, the
Sure.
group that they collaborate with a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So I was like, maybe it was a Banger song, but
Yeah.
I guess not.
So that was about it for their set, and then they did a whole nother. They went back into OK Go Ogo, and exited the stage or the court with the Turf Fiends again. Not much freestyle there. They kind of just did a collaboration and just kind of a groove dance out or a party dance out. And then I thought that part dragged out the whole thing too.
Right.
because,
Yeah.
Right.
Like they got into the tunnel and they're still like
still
doing
going.
something,
They're still
like
going.
slow motion or whatever. I'm like, all right, it's done.
But that's commitment,
Come
you
on.
know, that you got to
No,
keep going.
It is. That's
Yeah.
fine. But I think they committed too long. That's just me. I don't know if you guys have any feelings about that. Anyone?
It kind of dragged out, in my opinion. I mean, it was cool, you know. They got the whole like getting out of like the whole like.
Yeah, the whole getting out part was fine. It's just when they were
when they
out,
kept going,
they were still going out.
Yeah, they were going through the tunnel, down the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. I really thought the camera would have stopped and just let everybody pass by them at a certain, like maybe 3 seconds after they passed the cheerleaders already.
Yeah, I think overall, if we're talking about the entire video itself and the cinematography, like now that I'm thinking about it, it's of course they're there to perform at a halftime, but the overall end goal of them was maybe to get some sweet footage at a halftime show.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then just like put it together. Because
we did this.
They did that, and also it's not like the audience was gonna. There's like no way you can do a spectacular performance at halftime.
Oh no,
for a 360 audience anyway. So
especially not with just 5 people.
Yeah, especially that. So they catered to the camera and just for in particular their own purposes and for their own fans to actually enjoy something at ground level. And then just as for the drag out at the end, I can kind of see why they did that. I guess it's kind of cool to see how close it was to finishing halftime. Like as soon as they got out, you saw the players walking right out, and I saw that on like the left side. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. They were literally right next to the players, just walking out, and then they cut it off. So maybe that's why they left it in there. Who knows?
Fair enough.
Part of their contract, I guess.
You have to dance for 7.5 minutes exactly. Okay,
it's like all the way.
That's true though.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of their outfits? I thought their outfits were dope.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the police emergency type of jacket, but hoodie style.
Very like classic Jabbawockeez, you know, with the mask too. It just looks super dope because then you don't see like all their skin. You know what I mean?
Bucket hats too, right?
Yeah, bucket hats.
Yeah, they still have the bucket hats. It's very reminiscent and paying homage to like origins of b-boying as well. You know, the outfits was just very reminiscent of just like, you know, those days of dancing as well.
I tried looking at the brand. I noticed it said Tribe with a Y on their breast, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like,
it's probably their own Jabbawockeez brand, and then Tribe is probably just like
whatever for their thing.
Their
fair enough
partnership with, I don't know, but
could be.
Yeah, I know they make their own clothes.
Yeah,
so. Or like they have people to make their clothes for Vegas, so it's probably just something they brought out there.
So like this set in this video was just like one huge advertisement for their Vegas show.
Because I didn't know they were still like going strong with it. I'm sure they are, but
yeah.
And they don't really drop that many like dance videos as often. You know what I mean? Because I think they're so focused on like their show.
Yeah, I think that's all they do.
Yeah, and it keeps them. I think the whole point was just to like
keep
them relevant.
Pretty occupied too.
Yeah.
So that's it for the video. Anything else you guys want to talk about when it comes to the video? Anything you want to bring up?
Oh yeah, one last thing that I'm glad they still do, is point to the sky. If you guys know what that's for, or for the audience, if you don't know, that's paying tribute to their late member that passed away like maybe earlier 2000s. I don't know exactly when. Gary.
Kendall.
Yeah, Gary Kendall. And the reason why they point to the sky is just to shout out to him, tribute to him, and it's
it's like 2000s. It was right before ABDC because he was supposed to be on ABDC with them.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And then his nickname was G1 or something like that, and this the holding up the one is just respect to him. So shout out that they're still going on with that and like not forgetting and really remember like why they're all there for it, because he was probably one of the main factors as to why they even did the show. So
one of the originals.
Thank you for mentioning that. So let's move on. So it's kind of a good segue. The way he influenced Jabbawockeez and how they're still influenced by each other on the crew. This is more directed towards you guys, but like how do the Jabbawockeez, how do like their style and just them in general, how do they influence dancers nowadays, or do they even? Like, are they still even like a thing for dancers nowadays?
So like new dancers?
Yeah, to your audience of dancers,
or just whoever you guys,
you know,
hear or dance with along the way. They don't even have to be new, but like current dancers.
I think to take a step back towards when they influence our generation, I'd say is because of America's Best Dance Crew, and that's when YouTube was just emerging. So the reason why everyone, or at least we were exposed to them, was because of that show in particular, because MTV is pretty mainstream. And then it just exposed a lot of folks to people or just dance crews that they've never seen before, or that type of dancing. They're like, whoa, this looks really cool. And as someone that's in middle school, high school, and you don't really have like your true hobby, it's like easy to get captured into that, or like captivated by like, holy crap, these dancers are really awesome. They're doing this thing that I just want to start learning. Yeah. So that's at least how I got into it. I think that's probably, like, Bear can speak more to it, but how he got into it as well. But just because it was part of mainstream culture at that time is how we got into it. It sucks that it had to take mainstream for it to happen, but I mean, that's the reality of it. That's that's the way the business goes. But yeah, I mean, and then compared to now, it's a lot of mainstream, I'd say, is gonna most likely be seen on Instagram or Twitter or something along the lines of that, and it's probably more viral dances that would make it to the audience that I would consider us like as like back in the day. So it's not really hitting them as hard. So if we're like talking Jabbawockeez terms and how they're influencing, I don't know for sure, but I think like the presence in like the main platforms isn't as big as it once was for it to reach to people who haven't really seen them before. So influence there is like I wish it'd be higher, but I just think like just that what they're doing now with Vegas and being focused on Vegas, it's not really being focused on going out to the masses anymore. And the crowd or fans that they've gathered from like back in the days they still know about them, but it's not really expanding any further or branching out any further because of that.
Cool. Perry, how about you, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Trung was saying. I think everybody or a lot of people would know who the Jabbawockeez are and be like, oh, these are the Jabbawockeez, classic masks. You know what I mean? And like and like all those like visuals and stuff, and that's kind of like that would be like it. And when it comes to like the newer generation, they probably wouldn't use like their styles as their own, you know what I mean? Or like try to like take that in. I know like back in the day, like that was like it, you know what I mean? YouTube compilation videos, week 1 through 6, you know what I mean? All of those. And so like those were like very heavy. That's what gave us, they influenced us like heavy, you know what I mean? And like seeing it nowadays, it probably wouldn't be as much because like you said, like all the social dances, Instagram, YouTube, we're kind of like flooded with all this like this dance, and like you're gonna see a dance and then you're gonna move on to the next one and forget about what you just watched. You know what I mean? And like because there's so much content, it's a little bit harder to influence, I think, unless you're like on like World of Dance or something like nowadays, you know, or like on those like urban dance camps videos, like all those type of things. If you're not like one of them, or like on like GRV, like performing at these big competitions, then like you're like almost not relevant. You know what I mean? And so it's harder for like someone like the Jabbawockeez to like get into that crowd because they're not part of that crowd anymore, I think. Like they're not. I mean, you'll see them at like back in the day, you see them at like Body Rock, you know, and then like everyone like pay homage, like yo, they killed that, you know what I mean? But now like Body Rock really isn't around. They're not really showing up to these community events anymore, or at least maybe they are. I just don't know on my end, and I just don't see it, you know, because it's not on my Instagram feed or YouTube, you know what I mean? So like, I think it's a little bit harder for them to like get into that because I don't know if they're like really targeting that anymore. They're like focused on like making sure they're good, making sure their families are good, or like putting on this amazing show, you know,
that they have to do daily in Vegas.
And maybe like their time. Maybe their time is like past too because they've influenced so many people, and now it's like the people that they influence is time to like take what they've learned from them and like spread it on, you know.
Fair enough. For us, like we were, well, at least for me, but I'm pretty sure for Eser too, we were still influenced by them heavily, because they started around the time that we were just getting into dance as well. YouTube may not have been around yet, but I remember passing videos like files to each other, or even like to my cousin out in the Bay.
Mega upload.
And like showing the grainiest footage of how they used to dance or where they came from, or the crews that they used to be on. Stuff like that. I think speaking to what you guys said, you both said, I think you're right. I think it's hard for them to stay relevant, especially nowadays when there are like a billion dancers out there now.
Yep.
Now that I guess the urban style of dance has kind of taken off into the mainstream, and I mean people have more access to it. A lot more people have more access to it, and especially with Instagram and the Twitters and the YouTubes, they can
and all the S's.
Anyone can get famous for whatever reason.
Yep.
By chance, like they may not even be the best dancers or whatever, but you know they are relevant for whatever reason, and then that's it for them. Like that's good now, and then it's harder for other people to kind of get into that same limelight type of thing. It's kind of unfortunate that a group like Jabbawockeez has to try and stay relevant if they are even still trying. Yeah, you know, if they even care to still try at that point. You know? Again, like you said, they probably are still just focusing on just themselves and the show that they got, which is sick because to have a Vegas show, come on.
Yeah, that's
right.
crazy.
That's
impressive.
They hit that point or that peak where it's like they're gonna focus on that, and then everyone who they've already influenced already is taking that they're filling in those shoes now, and then it's gonna be a continuous cycle.
They're on the same levels like Celine Dion.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like any other great who's been in Vegas. Come on.
That's right.
For dancers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because
Cirque du Soleil, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So, like I said earlier, you know, you just never know who's under the mask. So they're always training a new generation with that same style, which is very nice. You know, like it's still being passed on like that. So for all we know, the entire first generation of Jabbawockeez, they're making that residual, you know, because of those Vegas shows.
Got kids.
And they got kids. I know they got kids, man. So they got their families to support. So like that relevance, sure. I mean, it's there, but at the same time, you know, at a certain point, those dancers are thinking about their futures already. You know, it's unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. You know, that's the end game. You know, you built up such a career around dance. This is it already. Now you've made it. So they're reaping the benefits. That's just how it works.
Who do you think are like the people that are influencing the most nowadays in terms of dance?
Yeah.
Keone Mari.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're on like maternity leave now.
Yeah, they are. They're about to have their own family. See.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure they've influenced the community in terms of style, in terms of the way people dance, for sure.
Athleticism.
Like
working on your bodies and taking care of your bodies as dancers, promoting that whole idea. That is nuts because I still think there's a lot of people out there in the dance community that don't go under that training that they do in order to like really be athletes as dancers. So
I mean, dancing's changed a lot like over the days, you know. Like I feel like athleticism is definitely like a huge thing now because like everyone's trying to hit like every single beat nowadays, like
yes.
You know, and so like that whole thing that they were trying to do where like dancers are athletes are dancers, I think is like really cool. I think another group that's like obviously that we can talk about is like the Kinjas too, you know. They're like big, they're like super big and like they're everywhere, you know, like whether like they're dancing with each other or like dancing like in a whole different country, you know, like China or something like that. I think they have like a huge influence on like a lot of like the community dancers.
Oh, absolutely.
Nowadays.
Yeah, because I know. Yeah, they opened up a dojo over in
in
China now
nuts.
too.
Yeah,
and like you can imagine.
China?
Yeah, in China. Yeah, so you can imagine Arnell flying back and forth, and when it was just both open, you know, both dojos in LA and in China.
Going back to what you guys said about athleticism, so yeah, definitely back in the day, it wasn't a thing that we even thought about really. Yeah, we knew we had to be in shape, but we didn't really think about having to be in like shape. You know what I mean?
The shape.
And like nowadays, I've noticed that dancers are kind of either going one way or another. When it comes to, I call it like the dancer spectrum. Like one side is like straight up artists, and then the other side is like athletes. Because even look at like how the way dance competitions or shows are looking, they're looking more like athletic competitions nowadays, less so about dance. Like they happen to be dancing while being super athletic about it. and even wearing like uniforms at some points,
Yep.
right? So it's kind of like, I don't know. I sometimes I relate it to like kind of cheer competitions in that sense. Whether that's a negative or a positive, take it however you think. But like either way, super athletic, super awesome how they're doing everything. How anyone's doing anything. But then like you go over to the people like the Hema or people who are fusing different things like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not being the most athletic, but being like the most artistic you can be. That's the way I feel like things are going nowadays. It's hard to find that happy medium between the two and still try to be relevant at that point. Again, it's really hard to be relevant nowadays.
Yeah.
Just because of how flooded everything is in terms of just dancers in general, how many there are.
It's information overload because with the internet, you know, that's just what it is.
Not even the internet, man. Just like competitions, like everyone's dancing nowadays for some reason.
Yeah.
I remember when it wasn't cool.
I know.
Dance, and
it was still like an upcoming
now
thing.
it's the thing to do when you're in college.
I feel that.
Right?
I used to get a lot of crap from it from like my lacrosse team back in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like going to like future shock practices and stuff. I would like leave practice early or like I would like take off my gear and like run to the metro or something like that just so I can make it to like future shock freestyle practice. And like my coach would like give me a lot of crap for it. But like nowadays it's like, yo, you dance, that's super cool. Like I want to do it now, you know. Yeah, just because you see it all over the place and it's like embedded into their brain. Yeah.
Well, I had a point. Must not be important. Oh well. Anything else about that you can think of when it comes to for these guys?
I mean, just like I guess we can go off on a tangent or some sort of segue about like the saturation of
That's the
how,
word I was looking for.
Yeah, saturation of how dance is, you know, like because we know everybody wants to get into it. Like, do you think there's still room for it even as the years go by? You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be room for like dancers to like come in, you know, because that's like the beauty of dance. Like, I think everyone in itself is a dancer, and even if they don't portray themselves as one, they are a dancer. You know what I mean? Because you go up to weddings, you'll see people just like dancing, having fun. That's what like that's what like I love. Just like seeing people just like go off. Like all my family would like push me like going like the cypher and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm just like enjoying myself. You know what I mean?
Like, oh yeah, you have to say no at first, and then you can go in.
Yeah. But it's like it's cool to see people like just like want to go for it because like. There weren't that many resources back in the day. There's probably less resources back when you guys were growing up.
For sure.
You guys were our resources, you know, growing up. You know what I mean? And so like being able to have like all access to resources, I think it's awesome. I think it's a different story when these people that are just starting to dance are trying to like push what they're doing onto other people when they've only been dancing for like a year or something. You know what I mean? Like learn the art before you can like before you're ready to like get back. I think that's the only thing I have an issue with personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like teaching before you
teach
know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's what's like saturating like all these like dance workshops and stuff because like people are like coming into it with like, oh, I want to teach a really dope piece. You know, like yeah, it may look cool, but like how was the class? Did people like actually gain something from it? You know?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what like these classes should be about. It's about like spreading knowledge and like letting these people know like I learned from like these great teachers and like I'm ready to like pass on what they've taught me in my own way to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's called class for a reason. It's not show and tell.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm kind of waiting for dance to not be cool anymore. Kind of like a Renaissance kind of type of thing.
Yeah. It's probably gonna go full circle.
So that like, you know, that rebirth happens and it's something super crazy happens for whatever reason. Like the next Jabbawockeez come out when everything's dead, I guess at that point. You know, it's probably not gonna happen, but whatever.
I mean, isn't like b-boying like making its way to like the Olympics now too?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
B-boying has
super
become
mainstream.
It's become a very official event in the Olympics, which will happen 2024.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. I think that's a huge step for like the whole like dance scene in general.
It's the ultimate jam.
And from what I've read or been told by Flag or whoever, they're saying that it's going to stay true to like the format.
That's
good.
It's
like
I hope
judges
so.
and like one-on-one battle, like straight up battle. Because when I heard that B1 was going to be like an Olympic sport, I had every inclination in my mind thinking it was going to be like gymnastics. Like,
yeah, me too.
People get to pick a song, they get to do a set to it, and they get judged on it.
I was like, I hope it doesn't go that way. That's going to be so whack.
I was like, okay, b-boying Olympics for sure. They're going to do something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And then once I heard like they're keeping the the real format, I was like, all right, I can probably get behind this.
Yeah, for sure.
So on the same level of like a BC1,
Yeah, exactly.
But even crazier because
even
4
crazier.
Years, right?
Yeah. And everyone's gonna be watching it around the world.
Right.
And now dancers can win Olympic
medals.
That's crazy. Athletes.
Yeah. Now they're like straight up
Yeah.
athletes.
Yeah. Signed it off like officially athletes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Forget art. Just kidding. Obviously, art's there because there is still gymnastics. That's super art.
Yeah. I'm not really gonna say that their freestyles aren't like art. You know what I mean? They're sets.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because they work hard for it. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it for all I got for you guys. Anything that's been grinding your gears lately when it comes to dance that you because like for us for the older heads, like there are things that always like bother us about new things, right? Or even like I can like older music and hate newer music. That's just one thing that's always going to happen for me. Yeah. But like for you guys who are still kind of like in that transition period of still being active, but also kind of like starting to get older. No offense, hate to break it to you. Start trying to change careers over here.
Quarter life crisis.
Has there been anything that's really been bothering you guys about like the dance community, I guess, in general?
Yeah, not just here, but like globally, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. Personally, at least around the people or this community that I know of, I actually know it. It's probably like everywhere is the clout chasing on social media. And it's like every time they take a class or every time they, I don't know, teach something, they're going to post it.
Sure.
And then, I mean, which is fine. But if you're posting it for like show and just to show off, like, yeah, I took this class, blah, 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 for the likes, then you're really in it for the wrong reason.
Right.
But if you do it to actually try and grow from it, or you post something because you're really proud of, and you're like, oh, I felt like I did this, or I extended more, and this is why I'm posting it, that's fine. But I mean, I can't tell people what they should and should not be posting, but I think it's like, I don't know, kind of muddying the waters on like what dance should be, because of like some of these people that are only do it because it looks cool and they want to show it off and whatnot. So that's my only quarrel with current community is like, you don't have to necessarily post every little single thing you do just because you like want to get likes from it or see like what people say or validation. Really, like, it's okay for you to move silently, and then if there's something you're really proud of, maybe post it, but like it doesn't have to be everything. But that's just my opinion on it.
No, we've talked about it on the show before. For sure. How about you, Barry? I know you kind of mentioned it with like the teaching before you're ready.
That's one big one. But like I guess a little smaller one. I feel like people need to let like music like soak in, a new song comes out, they want to be the first one to like dance to it, you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, let it breathe a second, like enjoy the song instead of being like, oh, this song just dropped yesterday, like check out my freestyle. You know what I mean? Jeez. And so that kind of like, it's just like, let the music be. But I guess it's kind of like the culture nowadays because music goes by so fast.
Right.
And so everything is so like in and out, in and out, in and out.
Everything goes by so fast now.
Yeah, it sure does.
And I think that's the reason why people just want to be like the first one to do it. But like, just like, if you can just like take a step back, appreciate the music for what it is, and then like let it like marinate in your body, and then you can like go for it. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
I guess to speak on that, like at least back in the day for me, I used to be that same way too, but not with newer music. Well, this could be any song, but like I wanted to get, like, if I really liked the song, I wanted to do something before someone else did something, and then if I did something after, people would say, "Oh, you're just using that because you know this person already did a piece."
Yeah, that's true too.
Kind of thing. When it's like, no, I just really like the song. So I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
A lot, but there again, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks not being the first because then you're called a biter for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Whatever whack reason that may not be the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that we could talk about in terms of what we're not liking in the dance community. For me,
we love the community though.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, it's a community for a reason. It's like with any family, you're gonna have like quarrels randomly for whatever reason. For me, it's just competitions or dance shows in general. I feel like I'm a guy who gets tired of something really quick. Which is why I'm not really like on social media a lot, because I do see a lot of the same stuff all the time, and I do hear a lot of the same music all the time. But like when it comes to like competitions, I feel like I see a lot of the same people a lot on stage all the time for like, and this isn't any one particular show. I can go to a show like in the West or whatever, and I'll see like the same people multiple times on stage with different groups or whatever. And that's one thing. But again, how many people are actually performing? Are they any different? Because like by like the intermission, I'm like, well, I've seen like 10 of the same kind of act go on already. For whatever reason, they could have similar vibes, or they could have the same people, or whatever, similar outfits, because everyone tends to wear the same outfits nowadays, even on the same team, or crew or whatever. But that's just me. Like, that's why it's hard for me to go back out to a show now, just because I don't know if I'm going to enjoy the whole thing, and I don't want to disrespect anybody by saying, oh, I only like so-and-so and not the rest of anyone. Is there anything that you hate?
Or
the strong
word? No,
yeah,
like,
I'm just kidding.
Like you struck a chord when it comes to competitions. It's like, it's so hard to pick out who you like, because identity doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Like, what's unique about you? You don't have to necessarily have an urban style or train in one. Like, you still can, like, set yourself apart from all the other groups in every competition. Just have to develop it. I think that's the thing, because people are just so on the grind, because it's just a very instant gratification kind of generation. Most groups, they just want to put something out there rather than really take the time to like artistically develop their sets, and just have the identity. That's all I ask. Like, I've seen a good share of shows lately, and it still hasn't changed too much. Like, probably still the most standout group is Capital Funk here in the area. Like, they still have that identity. I can safely say they still have that identity, other than like, even our alma mater, Major Def, like, they're coming back. I can honestly say they're coming back.
That's good.
Yeah. Like, they did pretty good.
Yeah, because like back in the day, we used to be able to tell what each team's thing was, right?
Exactly.
Or like who they were.
Right.
Or like what their thing, like what their shtick was, I guess.
See? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
That's my biggest qualm about dance in general, not just here, but also even everywhere else. I mean, yeah, like, don't get me wrong about like some of the acts we saw in World of Dance, or like even if I've seen a show out in the West Coast, there's still definitely groups out there who know how to really set themselves apart. But I just want to say, like, everyone else out there, like, really think about, like, what are you putting out there now, to our audience. I'm directing this to you. So, yeah.
Watch the Tito BoyScouts. They were great examples.
Nope, please don't.
No.
We're
need to come back.
We're irrelevant. We are irrelevant now.
Boy band set. Kinja just did a boy band set, but Tito BoyScouts did it.
Oh no,
they did it first
years ago.
Did they really do a boy band set?
Yeah, they.
Oh my gosh.
They called it man band.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
but
it was different.
It was totally. They didn't. They didn't use like. That's a totally different topic, but they used. They didn't use like the Backstreet Boys type stuff. I think they just used.
Okay.
They used
like One Direction kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it was Boyz II Men
Okay.
song.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was it. It's cool. It was good.
Hit up them Boogie Rangers though.
Yeah, Boogie Rangers.
We felt good about not dancing as much because you guys were doing your thing. We were like, oh, good. You guys can carry it on.
We all looked at each other. All the Boy Scouts looked at each other like, oh, they got this. We're good. We're good.
And now we're like, now there's nothing really like either of our groups out nowadays.
We slowly shifted towards boys.
Yeah.
We're doing
fair enough.
That's fair.
Now there's a lot of you guys.
There's just a lot of us. Just a bunch of
lot
dudes.
of boys.
Bunch of Asian boys dancing.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I need a reunion though.
Yeah.
True.
Maybe we
bring
can
back
about
collab.
Boy Scout Ranger reunion. Collab.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
You heard it first.
You make it happen.
Think about that.
ECDC, we're coming back.
Oh my gosh! Oh man!
Oh boy, that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to thank you guys for coming out and just talking and just shooting the stuff with us. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And just kind of letting you kind of our window into how dancers or the dance community in our area in particular.
Yeah.
Nowadays, since we tend to be more out of it. Myself more so than Eser. Eser's still kind of in there doing his thing. Yeah, he's doing his thing. I'm not, but
you still got it.
Yeah. Well, no, my knees hurt. Too many knee drops back in the day.
So do mine.
I need to keep my knees when I'm older. This goes back to the whole athleticism and taking care of your body.
Oh yeah,
thing.
Yep,
absolutely.
We did not.
My back sucks.
Yeah.
Take your vitamins.
But thank you guys for talking. You guys are welcome back anytime. Just hit us up if
thanks.
you want to come talk about whatever. If something's like been grinding your gears lately.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. Even when we're not here, just come here and talk.
Or if Russ is asleep,
don't even wake me up. Just start talking. We like the whole idea about just talking is that we hope to drive a little bit more creativity. Like if people get angry, they may hate us, but it may lead them to do something different. And I call that a win, in my opinion. So, Trung, man, where can people find you?
Where can they find me? They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever other social media platforms. At Trung Fu. That's like my handle for everything. I couldn't really think. And then if you want to link up, play some games, you can hit me up for my Nintendo ID or
all right.
Play some Smash. I don't play Fortnite anymore. So yeah, hit me up.
All right.
Nice. Perry, where can people find you, man?
You can find me on IG, Facebook, whatever. I'm at Perster, PERRSTERR, so 4 R's. And you can follow the Day One Project Dance. Yes, you'll find us all at our events. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eser, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Valcirca and on Facebook. Simple as that. Yep.
Tight.
That's pretty much all I check now.
And I'm Russ Santos, again, your host. You can find me at Lock and Rob on everything, including Reddit. So if you want to talk to me on Reddit, please do. Sometimes people do, and sometimes we have pretty good discussions. So hit me up there. If you guys liked everything you heard and liked everything you've been seeing, whether you're on YouTube or on Spotify or on iTunes or whatever, however you're getting to us, please go to our website, dancefam.tv. Check out the rest of our stuff there. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, at DanceFamTV, whatever, all that good stuff. So thank you guys for stopping by. We will get you guys next time. Peace out.